Hello, this is Max. Two girls got stuck in a small town during a trip. One of the girls disappears, and everything leads to a tragedy. Don't forget to subscribe. Stephanie and Ellie, two American bicyclists, travel to an isolated town after breaking away from a bicycle tour. Ellie purchases two handcrafted bracelets at a souvenir stall, sharing one with her friend as they make their way to a small hotel for their final night. Local residents observe them with concern, knowing they are traveling without a guide. Upon checking in at the hotel, they meet Rosa Maria, who converses with them in English. She becomes worried about their safety upon realizing they are traveling alone. Rosa Maria's husband, Luca, escorts the two guests to their room. While Ellie showers, Stephanie's phone rings, but she ignores it. A sudden aggressive knocking on their door startles Stephanie, but when she looks outside, she finds no one there, only two pairs of towels. Later that night, the two women attract the attention of male customers at a local bar. Stephanie's phone rings again, this time from her ex-boyfriend, but Ellie urges her to enjoy the night and ignore the call. A waitress serves them a bottle of alcohol, a gift from another customer named Chucho. Stephanie hesitates, but Ellie eagerly accepts it. Ellie orders more shots, and they make the most of their last night, despite their early departure the next day. Soon, an American man named Michael enters the bar, capturing Stephanie's attention. An intoxicated Ellie changes the song on the jukebox and dances, trying to attract Chucho. Meanwhile, Stephanie watches Michael at the counter as he avoids a confrontation with another bar patron and heads to the restroom. Ellie follows him, pretending that the women's restroom is occupied. She's trying to get close to Michael, but he declines her advances, advising her to stay close to her friend. Subsequently, Chucho invites Ellie to his table and takes pictures of her. While at the bar, Stephanie realizes that her friend Ellie is no longer there. Concerned, she gathers her belongings and goes outside to search for her. Eventually, she catches Ellie with Chucho. Upon seeing Stephanie, Ellie instructs her to head back to their hotel alone, a request Stephanie agrees to. On her way back to the hotel, Stephanie walks by Rosa Maria's window and witnesses her in a heated argument with her husband, Luca, who then closes the window. Later in the night, Stephanie is awakened by noises outside her room and discovers Ellie, intoxicated and with Chucho. When Ellie refuses to go with Chucho to his place, he becomes aggressive and slams her wrist against the window. Realizing Ellie is in danger, Stephanie quickly steps out to pull her away from Chucho and locks their room door. An infuriated Chucho bangs on their door so forcefully that it unplugs their alarm clock. The noise attracts the attention of Michael, a guest in the next room, who subdues Chucho against the wall until Luca steps in to intervene. Outnumbered and confronted, Chucho retreats, throwing a threat at Michael as he leaves. Michael goes back to his room, and neither of the women realize their alarm clock has been unplugged. The next morning, Stephanie and Ellie wake up late and miss their early bus. With no other immediate options, they return to their hotel where Stephanie books their next flight. To pass the time, she inquires about Villa del Lago, a tourist spot, with Rosa Maria. The hotelier evasively hides the brochure and recommends other destinations. Seeing the guests still there, Luca calls his wife to another room. Stephanie wakes up a hungover Ellie, and the two decide to go cycling near the waterfalls close to the off-limits Villa del Lago. Captivated by the scenery, Ellie encourages Stephanie to unwind by the river. Later, tension rises between the friends when Stephanie confronts Ellie about making a move on Michael, whom Stephanie has feelings for. Ellie counters by suggesting Stephanie broaden her horizons beyond her unfaithful boyfriend. Frustrated by the honest but challenging conversation, Stephanie decides to leave Ellie by the riverbank, but she waits in a nearby canyon, expecting Ellie to eventually follow her. Ellie, however, stays by the river, leaving Stephanie alone with her thoughts. A short while later, the carefree woman sent an apologetic text to her friend, inviting her to meet at the restaurant they had passed earlier. Ellie, however, grew suspicious and began scanning her surroundings. Sensing danger, at that very moment, she suddenly found herself face to face with a sinister presence. Meanwhile, Stephanie arrived at the restaurant only to find her friend missing. She left a voicemail and then encountered Michael, who offered her a ride but was declined. Stephanie continued her search while Ellie screamed for help, struggling to break free from her abductor, who was dragging her through the woods towards a waterfall. Stephanie noticed Ellie's bike was missing, and Michael suspiciously followed her. They found Ellie's discarded phone nearby with drops of blood, which led Michael to assume it belonged to Ellie. He called the police, though there was doubt about their effectiveness. Officer Calvo eventually arrived and recognized Michael, leading him inside to show Ellie's pictures on her phone. Calvo questioned why Stephanie wasn't with Ellie, and she explained they had argued, believing Ellie left because of it. Calvo assured her that Ellie would likely return for her phone and leapt to his vehicle. Michael tried to stop him, but Calvo advised Stephanie to find another companion, referencing the missing girlfriends associated with Michael. Stephanie, however, grabbed his arm and described Chucho as a potential suspect, leading to the decision to file a report. They drove to the police station, and Michael watched them leave on the road. At the station, Calvo advised Stephanie not to trust Michael, but she expressed her distrust of everyone. As Stephanie anxiously waited for the case to be opened, she noticed numerous missing profiles of other women on the board. When Calvo finished the report, Stephanie insisted on an immediate search party, but the officer remained skeptical about Ellie being missing. Calvo claimed Stephanie should not have left her friend alone in a foreign country, surprising her with guilt. He recommended waiting until the next day to see if Ellie returned. Despite this, Stephanie asked around town if anyone had seen her friend, but the locals ignored her. Chucho, however, noticed Stephanie asking questions and fled, prompting her to follow him into the woods. As Stephanie pursued Chucho, she lost sight of him at the river. Defeated, she returned to her bike, only to discover its spoke had been severed. She went back to Hotel Rosa Maria to check on Ellie but found their room locked and empty. She then entered Michael's room, discovering Ellie's crafted bracelet. Luca entered the room and looked at Stephanie accusingly. Unable to understand Luca's accusations, Stephanie left the room and reported her discovery to Officer Calvo. He promised to question Michael and asked Stephanie to let him do his job. She then confided in Rosa Maria about her friend's disappearance, and they exchanged knowing looks with Luca. Later, Stephanie spotted Chucho on his motorbike and quietly took Rosa Maria's car keys to follow him. She saw the police car leave and pursued Chucho to Villa del Lago, where she encountered a barricade gate filled with warning signs. Undeterred, Stephanie drove onward until she reached a barren wasteland, where she continued on foot. In a ruined building, she saw Michael behind her, and in fear, she fled, thinking he might be the kidnapper. After some persuasion, Michael convinced Stephanie of his innocence and showed her a picture of his missing girlfriend, Camila, wearing the same bracelet as Ellie's. He explained his mission to find Camila, who had disappeared in town while gathering supplies. Stephanie realized they shared a common goal, as both their loved ones were missing. Michael believed the missing women had been abducted and trafficked to Paraguay. He suggested they split up to cover more ground before darkness fell, and Stephanie agreed. Meanwhile, Ellie began to regain consciousness in a room surrounded by pictures of women and a map pointing to Paraguay. Meanwhile, Officer Calvo arrived in the deserted town where Stephanie's stolen vehicle was parked. He questioned Michael about Stephanie's whereabouts due to a reported stolen car. Michael denied seeing Stephanie and expressed his concern over the missing person case. Calvo invited him into his vehicle, while Chucho watched his portable television. Ellie, the captive cyclist, was desperately in need of water, and she seized an opportunity when Chucho carelessly attended to her. She quietly grabbed a shard of glass with her bound hands. Ellie then beckoned Chucho to kiss her, and when he got close, she attacked him with her makeshift weapon. However, Chucho quickly overpowered her and assaulted her. In the midst of the struggle, Chucho's phone rang, and Ellie, in shame, screamed for help. As the scene unfolded, the anxious cyclist spotted Chucho's motorbike outside a deserted building, realizing it might be his hideout. Stephanie quietly turned off the portable generator, distracting Chucho, who attempted to restart it. Stephanie cautiously approached Ellie and managed to free her just in time. When Chucho realized what was happening, he chased after the two women. As they fled, Chucho confronted them and tackled Ellie to the ground, fatally injuring her by smashing her head on a rock. Devastated by her friend's death, Stephanie attacked Chucho, and Michael came to her aid. Officer Calvo intervened, and the anguished woman identified Chucho as Ellie's companion the previous night. Calvo apprehended Chucho at gunpoint, instructing Stephanie to get inside the police car for her safety. Inside the car, Stephanie discovered Ellie's passport, realizing that Calvo was involved in Ellie's abduction. Stephanie tried to warn Michael, who was outside, but Calvo revealed his malicious intentions to abduct her. Michael took action, snatching Calvo's gun and ordering both men to kneel. Calvo insisted that Camila, Michael's missing girlfriend, was safe, but Michael remained determined. Calvo proposed to trade Stephanie for Camila. Michael dropped his gun, choosing to be with Camila. However, as he turned to face Stephanie, Calvo pulled out his second gun and fatally shot Michael. That night, Calvo threatened Stephanie. Calvo received a call from his dealer in Paraguay, who had found a client for their American captive. Subsequently, Chucho rendered Stephanie unconscious and preparing her for transport. The two men transferred the unconscious woman to a boat and traveled down a river toward Paraguay, where they intended to sell her. Stephanie regained consciousness and, using a fishing net, pushed Chucho off the boat, obstructing the motor. Despite Chucho's struggle to escape the net, he drowned. Calvo chased Stephanie into the water, but she managed to hide underwater and free her bound wrists. Calvo searched for her with a flashlight on the boat. Stephanie eventually swam to the shore and Calvo followed. However, Calvo's dealer, Hernan, confronted them, causing a hesitation in purchasing the American woman. Calvo insisted, but Stephanie kicked Hernan, freed herself from Calvo, and escaped again. Calvo pursued Stephanie with a gun, and they reached a neighborhood where Stephanie sought help from a local. Tragically, the relentless perpetrator shot the local resident dead. Stephanie hid and armed herself with a knife. When the woman attempted to escape, Calvo cornered her, and she defended herself with a knife and took the gun. Stephanie shot and eliminated Calvo, ending the lengthy chase. As the sun began to rise, the exhausted Stephanie continued along the road, clutching a rock for protection. She spotted a truck approaching and cautiously approached it. A female soldier in the truck came to raid, and Stephanie's exhausted body surrendered in the soldier's arms as she brought her to safety. If you are interested in such films, please proceed to the next video on the screen, and also share your thoughts about this film in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. Goodbye.